obviously I wasn't there to see it, so can you kind of just summarize from your perspective what you guys got out of the match today?
There was some progress for sure. I think just the structure that we saw with Houston, it was a lot of straight matchups. They played in a back three, a back five, depending on the positioning of their wing backs, and pressed us three for three. So our build saw a good intensity to try to find some ways to break that pressure. And as we got higher up the field, we looked at just some different things with how we use Sammy and Obi to try to um, move within the back line to get Andre and um, Gilberto more space to just advance the ball. So there was some good moments. There were some moments where we had to use Roman and help buy some time um, and things that we had really discussed over the last couple of days with guys just being a little bit more demanding to get the ball. So there was some good progress there, good communication within it, which is also something that needs to improve. Um, and let's see, first 15, 20 minutes, I think we struggled to find some of those solutions. And then the last 20 minutes of the half was much better and had us closer to their goal where, there was some good actions, especially down Ender's side to to get him isolated and get some runs in the box. Um, Second half, I thought the group did a really good job starting the half. We got Dotto in some really good spots. Our midfield with Brian, Steve, and Pavel did a really good job. Just those four finding spaces to receive and get us going to goal. We just lack some um, final pass quality or just the timing of the runs. We had a couple where we were just offsides but how we got there was really good. So unfortunate goal that we conceded there at the end. We had a couple um, a header off of their direct play that could have been into a better spot that invited the pressure, and then we did have a good box clearance and a deflected shot. So overall, it was progress, and while it wasn't the prettiest of games, I think the fitness was improved and the intensity was good, and um, just the connection of both 45s um, saw improvement from game one.
I was curious about because you went with Sammy and Obi together in that first half
Mhm.
versus last time it was Pavel in there. Was there something specific? I know everyone's kind of curious how you're going to utilize all those midfielders this year. So was there something, were you just kind of wanting to see those two together? What were you hoping to get out of that combination?
Yeah, we're going to look at different partnerships and whether it's the back line, the midfield, up front. This is the time to explore and look at different partnerships. So, today was Obi and Sammy, and I imagine there's a Sammy and Pavel, maybe all three. So we're just looking at all of these things because we know at the beginning, with how things start, there's going to be a need for the depth, and so a good chance to just kind of look at different um, relationships. And, we know what I think with the amount of time that Sammy was with us, we know what it looks like with Pavel and Obi. And Brian, it's just how we go game to game through this preseason at looking at different things. So, um, yeah, I think Obi was strong today. There's some moments where Sammy got caught on the ball and just some tough moments, but all part of it.
I'll let you go, Carter, and then I can come back if you anything else.
Sure. Thank you, Pat, again for the time today. Last week when you spoke with us after the first friendly, you talked about how maybe the positives you've seen from training maybe didn't translate to the field as the way you'd kind of hoped. It didn't that you had
Mhm.
kind of hoped. Was today a better reflection of kind of the positives you've had from this preseason, and how did that kind of play into the success you had today?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I think with the ball, how we advance up the field, whether it's through, whether it's around, whether it's over, there was improvements with how we got behind with our center backs with time and space and locating the wing backs. So improvement there. So, how we played through maybe not as threatening or didn't have as many solutions, but that was also a credit to just Houston and how they applied pressure. Um, Defensively, I think it was a pretty organized game from both groups. So I would say that's some improvement. We worked a lot on our high press and then what it looked like when we needed to recover behind the ball, and those were two different ideas. And so that was improvement as far as when we recovered to press. Um, Still like to see us be able to get into the final third more consistently and kind of um, lengthen that time with how we attack, with how we structure what the structure looks like behind the ball to um, keep teams pinned in. So that's something we've been looking at as well. And uh, first 20 minutes of the first half wasn't great. The last, 20, 25 minutes was better. And then the beginning of the second half, I thought we started off in that way and then kind of um, lost that rhythm. I think they made some adjustments to try to take away some of the things that we were having success with in the middle of the field. So as always in these preseason games, you see progress in ways, where maybe you put a bigger emphasis on it, and then maybe you lose some progress in other areas. So it's trying to kind of pull it all together. But like I said, this was a better overall performance, putting the result aside, than what we had against New England.
Something that I guess stood out today with the lineups for me was, and I guess last week as well, was you had two really young center backs in that first group today, and Hilberto and Andre, even
Yeah.
younger. How have you seen them kind of with the opportunities they've had develop this preseason, and where are they at?
With Alberto, he came in, I think, a little bit behind, and as far as the fitness in the first week, so he's pushed himself in a good way, and we know what Nick looks like in that spot. Um, Alberto's had moments, but we've also had him on the left at times. So I wanted to see him. We wanted to see him on the right of Miles and on his stronger foot more consistently with how we could um, see some of those on the ball qualities um, when we were in the build, and then his relationship with Ender. I still think the communication can improve as far as how he dictates how we get pressure to the ball on our right flank. So that was part of that challenge, just to hear him more with somebody that can understand, his first language. With Andre, he's had a really good start since he returned from, the youth national team camp. We again, I I want to see some of these um, different partnerships just to see what Andre looks like with Miles next to him and playing into Obi and Sammy and Evander. And so um, he had a decent game. There was some, I think, direct plays where on the far side you just didn't get as good of an idea of some of the spaces and the pressure and decisions, but some of the direct play, um, could improve from him. I think closer to goal, he found some good ways to get out of pressure. Defensively, I think he did a good job stepping, into the midfield at times and being connected with Miles. So yeah, that was good. But that was kind of the approach with some of these, different faces than maybe you're accustomed to seeing.
Last one for me here. Kevin has scored both of the goals you guys have had this preseason. I guess aside from just pure goal scoring, where have you seen kind of him thus far through two games, and what maybe can he continue to contribute aside from the goal scoring?
Yeah, his engagement, his work rate, how we have closer connections with our front three, with whoever's been next to him in Evander, has been really strong. His attitude has been excellent, and I think he's honed in on improving his fitness. You know, he does such a good job of taking care of himself, but in some ways, how can we limit some of those things to improve the cardio and the fitness? That's been a really good conversation because his intentions are really good, and it's just trying to be um, better with the timing of how we look at recovery and gym work and all that. So he's had a really good week. And then you see the goals. So
Mhm.
I think how he's been moving with the play, playing with his back to goal, and recognizing options to connect with the midfield and move us up the field. We're seeing some good actions there as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
I can jump back in if anyone else. Okay.
Go ahead.
Um, I is Ayub Jabari. I noticed he didn't pop up in the lineups that I saw. Is he okay?
He's okay. We'll probably pick him back up after this 4-day break that we have. He had a knock, and it just didn't make sense um, to push him. You know, he was good up until what is it, Wednesday, Monday afternoon, and then we just decided to have him um, do more straight running. So he's not that far off. It just didn't make sense.
And then how much are you guys kind of just still testing out ideas that you guys have versus are you kind of looking at the opponents the coming up, your first couple opponents as well at this point, or how do you kind of integrate that into your preseason games, if at all?
A lot less focus on the opponent. We try to give them some ideas of what they might see so that it's uh, at least an understanding of maybe if it's going to be a front three press or, a team in a 4-4-2. So how do they use their wingers to press, which is what we saw against New England in some ways. So the focus is much more on our ideas. And this is also a good chance to see, without giving them too much information, how they can problem solve and kind of assess, if it's the team stepping up, if they're dropping off, what's their structure, where are our advantages, what does the midfield um, rotations look like. So we try to give them ideas and see how they can solve some of those issues out on the field without being told. So that's part of preseason. And then as far as the start to O&M and the regular season, we haven't started those discussions. That'll likely be in the next week or so. There's still plenty of time, so we want to put a big focus on us and our ideas and use these games to kind of evaluate the individual, the collective, and how we can start the Champions Cup in the season in a good way, but not too much on the opponent.
And I was also wondering, with your captain decision, whenever you make that, well, do you already know who your captain will be this year? Or do you plan on doing that any differently this year? How you select that,
Yeah,
what some of the
we'll
options
probably
are?
have a different approach. Sorry to interrupt. But we haven't made any, formal announcement. Kind of just been handing the captain's armband to different guys within the preseason just to see how they handle, being the captain, whether it's of the half or the game. So today, Miles, Pavel were the two selected. And then as far as, an announcement of what that looks like permanently, that's a conversation that we're still, having internally.